Good morning. Welcome again to another episode of The Breakfast Show. I am your host, Lillian Thomas. I am glad that you're joining me again for the show. How are you doing? How have you woken up? How is everything on your side? How have you woken up? I really want to know if you are okay. Please let us know. Let us know if you have woken up well. We'd be glad to hear from you. It is another wonderful day. It is on a Wednesday. It is on a Wednesday. The week is almost coming to an end. And I didn't know how much of whatever you planned have you achieved from the objectives you had on Monday. On Monday we were talking and we said something about planning your week. We said something about planning your week. How much have you achieved so far? How far have you gotten with whatever you intended to do? Is everything working out for you well? Is other things not working out for you? Maybe you are stranded somewhere along the way because of whatever you do in whatever you're doing. I hope it gets better. I hope it gets better with time. I hope it gets better with time. Um, today, today is a wonderful day, and I was thinking about something yesterday. I was thinking about something yesterday, and I was in my head. I pictured we live in a world whereby we have kind people, we have unkind people. When you live in this life, you need to, personally, I think you need to leave a mark in life. You have to leave a mark in this life. Whatever you do, you must leave a mark, something that you will be remembered for, something that you will be remembered for. And I was thinking, as a young person, personally, what can I do? What can I do to make this world a better place? What can I be remembered for? What can I be remembered for? And it came to my mind that a lot of people are actually making steps trying to make this world a better place for everyone, for the people who are currently living here, for the people who are yet to come. There are people making steps trying to make the world a better place by their little actions, by their little deeds. And it is working out. It is working out. In one way or another, I know whatever conditions you are in, someone made it better for you. Someone made it better for you. And it actually brought me to thinking about what we discussed today. And I thought, um, we have the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals aim actually at making this world a better place, like develop the world that it's a better place for everyone who's living in this world. And in the development goals that we have a goal that is actually more specifically agriculture oriented. The second goal, which is about zero hunger, and that will be our topic of discussion today. That will be our topic of discussion today. And as we progress with the show, you can be giving me your feedback. You can write to us. Tell us what you think about the topic. Tell us where you're watching the show from. Keep contact with us. On Facebook we are Farmers. On YouTube we are at Farmers Media. During the show, I'm going to be reading for you the quote of the day. The quote of the day, I hope you will relate with it. And also I'll be giving you a farming tip towards the end of the show. And yesterday I said, if you have or if you know any woman in this agriculture industry who is actually doing some good work and you want us to appreciate her, please tag her in our page and we will appreciate her. We will acknowledge whatever she does. We will actually do that. So keep sending me your feedback. I will be sampling it in a few in the second better half. Um, in the second part of the show, I also stay updated. I will be giving you the weather updates. I will be giving you the weather updates, especially for people in Kenya, 254. I'll be giving you the weather updates. Yes, and we'll be doing a COVID updates at the end of the show. I hope you stay tuned till the end of the show, right? Yes, it is a bright day. We want to have a very good discussion. Make sure that you are giving me your feedback as we talk about this topic today and see how can we make this world a better place. Now we have something that we need to be aiming at attaining zero hunger in the world. How can you as a person contribute in making this world a better place? How can you? Actually tell me, what are you doing out here that is actually trying to make this world a better place? Are you involved in any charity work that you're doing, trying to make this world a better place? Let me know. Let me know. Before I start the show, I will remind us again, COVID 19 is around with us. COVID has been around with us for more than a year right now. For more than a year right now. We have the third wave currently in Kenya, which is quite deadly as compared to the previous waves that we've been having. Um, the positive cases right now are quite high as compared to the first and second wave. The number of deaths are increasing day by day. And it is a very risky thing. You don't want to be in a situation whereby you are exposing yourself, or rather, you are exposing your family members, or you are exposing your friends. So, put on your mask, put on your mask. Make sure your mask covers your nose and mouth. Make sure it covers your nose and mouth. Sanitize, sanitize. Make sure you are sanitizing. If you're not sanitizing, wash your hands regularly for a span of 20 seconds. And most of all, keep social distance in public places. Whether you are in a matatu, you are in a meeting, keep social distance. 1.5 meters, most advisable. Make sure you're keeping social distance. You help protect yourself, protect your family. In the long run, you're protecting your friends, and in the long run, we are protecting the entire community. And if you have nothing to do outside, if you can actually do everything from home, your work and any other related activities, make sure you are doing it from home. If you have nothing to do outside, just stay at home. Let's flatten the curve. It's a personal initiative, but this personal initiative actually becomes like a joint effort. We will be able to flatten the curve. I am getting into the topic of discussion. Our topic of discussion today is zero hunger. Zero hunger is actually the second SDG goal that we have. The SDG goals were actually formulated. They wanted to make this world a better place by 2030. By 2030. So the first start in 2012. And they came up with 17 SDG goals that they would like to work on in order to make this world a better place. We want to make it a very convenient place for people in the developed countries, people in the developing countries. We just want to make it very conducive for everyone to live here. And the second SDG goal is zero hunger. Zero hunger. Zero means like we have no hunger at all. We have no hunger at all. A story is told. A story is told of a certain woman. So in a certain place, there was war. There was war, and people couldn't get in or out of their city. People couldn't get in or out of their city, and they relied on emergency relief in order to get food and water and everything else. Okay, so people are stuck in this place. They can't access food unless food is brought to them. And because there is war, it is done in a very systematic way. So a journalist was actually covering a story in this place. And as he was covering, he noticed on some day a woman walking on the road. A woman walking on the road, and this woman had a little baby. This woman had a little baby. She walks down the road and then takes a certain path, a small path outside the road, and goes inside. After some few minutes, she actually comes back without the baby. She left the baby wherever she left her, in the woods. She came back. So this journalist actually looks at the woman and asks her, "Where is the baby? I thought I saw you going with the baby. Where did you leave your baby?" Um, the lady actually told him, "Right now, wherever we are at, we don't have food. We don't have food. And we have been told that the next time we are getting food or water is actually in the next 7 to 10 days. And I have a baby. If I have no food, I can't actually breastfeed this baby. I have no water. I can do anything to this child. I had to make a choice." So the woman felt like she had to make a choice. Either it's her who survives, or it is the baby who survives, which is a very hard choice. And she chose she'd rather survive. For her, she can actually last 7 to 10 days without food, and maybe without water. But for the baby, it will be hard. And I know as a parent, you wouldn't like to see your child struggling and suffering. So she decided to take the easier way out. I'll leave the baby in the woods to die by herself, and then I'll go back and try and survive. From this story, I listened to this story and I was asking myself, how on earth, how on earth are we having this happening in the 21st century? Why do we have this happening in the 21st century? Why does a person have to make such a hard decision between choosing yourself and choosing your baby to exist in this world? Why is there so much happening in this world currently? It is so hard. It is so hard. We are in the 21st century. We have technology advancements in this century. Everything is working out so well. And then we still have cases of whereby a lady has to choose if she has to survive or the baby has to survive. We still have cases of drought and hunger and people starving to death. We have cases of malnourishment. We have cases of undernourishment in children. People are starving to death day in, day out, especially more so right now when we are talking about Africa. People are starving to death in Africa. In some countries, in some parts of Africa, people are starving to death. What is the problem? What is the problem? Why do we actually have such cases? And as us as people, as a community right now, what can we do to actually solve this crisis? What can we do in collaboration with the non-governmental organizations we have, the government? And I know FAO is doing a very good work, World Food Program doing very good work trying to sort out these things. What can we do as individuals trying to solve this crisis? Because we need to make this world a better place. We need to make this world a better place. We all want to stay in very conducive environments. And I would like when the generation after me comes, they find a very conducive environment for them to exist. I'll read for you the quote of the day, and I want you to have it in mind. I want you to be thinking about it, even as we progress with the show. And maybe from the quote of the day, you can tell me, what have you come up with? What have you come up with? What do you intend on doing? What do you think you can do to make this world a better place? My quote today is very simple. My quote today is very simple. My quote says, make today matter. Make today matter. We are talking about the current day, each current day that you're living. Make it matter. Make today matter. You're making today matter with your actions, with your words, every initiative you're taking. Make today matter. As you're starting the day, as you're planning the day, I know most people right now could be planning the day. You want to get out of the house, you want to get things moving. Whatever you plan on doing today, make today matter. And also have it at the back of your mind. We need to make this world a better place. We actually do. We actually do. It will be a very good picture when we have all children going to school, all children getting food, all children getting access to basic needs, food, shelter, clothing, safety, all these things. It will be a very good picture. So we want to make this world a better place. What are you doing? What are you doing to make this world a better place? I have told you, make today matter. What do you intend on doing to make this world a better place? Because we need a better place to stay in. This world needs to be a better place. We might be here longer than we expect. So we'd rather make it a better place, conducive for us to exist here. Yes, we need to make it a better place. So kindly send me what your thoughts are on these certain sustainable development goals, which is the number 2 goal, and it is zero hunger, which is our topic of discussion. Do you think it's possible to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? Do you think it is possible to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? What do you think we can do personally as individuals, or how can the government step in to help us attain zero hunger by 2030? And also, what do you think? What do you think are the causes of us having hunger and people starving and people not getting enough food. What do you think are the causes? What do you think are the causes of the hunger crisis that we have in our world today? What do you think are the causes that are actually bring about hunger in our world today? So the second SDG goal, zero hunger, was actually established. It was established and it had different aims. It had different aims. The first aim was to end hunger. The first aim is to end hunger. And like we are completely done with hunger in the place. We have a point whereby everyone is getting access to food and you are getting access to food during all times. We don't have cases of people sleeping hungry over the night. Because I know we have a lot of cases, especially. I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up in the ghetto, and I can tell you for sure, for a bet. I know several families in the ghetto that actually you take your meals are planned in the ghetto. People live actually in less than $1 per day. People live by less than $1 per day. And if you're living by less than $1 per day, and you are a family, you are like five family members in the house. You find in certain houses, you take breakfast in the morning. There's no lunch, nothing is catered for lunch, and then the rest of the thing we can actually try and squeeze it for our dinner. Okay, you are privileged if you can actually manage to eat all meals in a day, because families out here, especially people living in the ghetto, look at Kenya. You go to Kibera, you go to Mathare slums, uh, you find that you have families who are living under $1 per day and they can't afford to like put three meals on the table in a day. So we'd rather sacrifice some and then work with some. And you see, that is a hunger crisis, because you'll have at a point children are sleeping hungry. They have to get up in the morning and go to school, which is not very conducive for them. So the SDG goal is aiming at getting to an end with hunger. Getting to an end with hunger. The second aim is to achieve food security, achieving food security in the world. We keep saying about food security. You can actually for you to be classified as having food security, you can sustain yourself. You can sustain yourself for this season. You can sustain yourself even for the next season. Okay, and you can actually even help others to sustain themselves within that period. For us to achieve food security, it is a joint effort. It's actually not a single thing that I can't do as an individual. It is a joint effort. It is a joint effort. And because we are looking at the world as a larger place, so the SDG goal looks at a point whereby we have to, with our little efforts from every part of the world, we are actually able to achieve food security in the world. People in Kenya have food. People in Tanzania still got food. People in Malawi got food. Nigeria, there is food. We have food in Philippines. We have food in Zambia. It is an all-rounded thing. We have to achieve food security within the world. It's not even an individual country thing. It is within the world. The third aim was to improve nutrition. The third aim is to improve nutrition. Um, I know of people who rely on one meal. Nutrition looks at someone consuming more like a balanced diet. You kind of get all the nutrients. You get all the nutrients. But we have cases whereby people actually, someone sustains on rice throughout because they can't get other nutrients. They don't have proteins, they don't have vegetables, so they are stuck on one thing, on one thing. And you find, especially for children, when they don't have all the nutrients that they need, they tend to be malnourished. They tend to be malnourished and they tend to have undernourishment cases. Okay, so I think, if you went to school, you were taught something about a child getting maybe kwashiorkor because of lack of proteins, It is the same thing that happens here. You're not getting enough proteins, all you're getting is carbohydrates or maybe vegetables, and you don't have enough proteins. So you are most likely to develop a disease which is kwashiorkor, and it's because you don't have all the nutrients. So the SDG goal of zero hunger aims at improving the nutrition because we want to encourage production of food, and the production of food we are encouraging, we are diversifying the crops that we are planting such that we have all the nutrients that we require. The fourth aim of Zero Hunger is to promote sustainable agriculture. On Monday, we covered something on sustainable agriculture. If you didn't watch the show, please make sure you go back and watch the video. We did it on the breakfast show. I covered something on sustainable agriculture, and we had a discussion with a professional, Mr. Ila. He did a very good covering of the topic. We said in sustainable agriculture, we aim at producing, it's a long term thing. We are producing food, but in mind, we have the environment in mind, we have the economic profitability in mind, and then we have the social equity in mind. In our production, we have to be looking at all these things for our agriculture to be sustainable for a very long period. And we said by the time we are getting to 2050, we will be having around 9 billion people in the world. All these people need to be fed. All these people need to be fed. How do we manage to feed these people? Unless we improve our agricultural practices, we need to be producing more than 60% by the time we are getting to 2050 of what we are producing right now in order to sustain all these people. So Zero Hunger SDG aims at promoting sustainable agriculture. It aims at promoting sustainable agriculture, and it involves a lot. Yesterday we looked at conservational agriculture as a form of sustainable agriculture. And in it, I think we actually covered something on diversification of the crops that you plant in your field. And when we diversify, we will actually have, you see, when you diversify, we actually meet the third aim of improving the nutrition. And then it is sustainable agriculture we are practicing. It is the sustainable agriculture we are practicing. Over the past years, I think like a decade or so, before 2015, the number of hunger cases in the world were going down. The number of hunger cases were going down because there was increased agricultural productivity and the economic growth was actually on a steady rise. And then from 2015, right now we are in 21, the number of undernourished people are actually going higher. They are going higher. Reason being, the economics right now, the economic growth is decreasing. We are living in very hard economic times. Agricultural productivity is not as strong as it should be. It is not as strong as it should be. And it leads to a case of where now we have again cases of hunger rising in the world. The hunger cases are rising in the world due to the economic times we have. And then also the climate. The climate is shifting. The climate has really shifted. We did something on climate smart agriculture on Friday. The climate has really shifted. The weather is so unpredictable. The productivity in our fields has actually gone down. The productivity in our fields has actually gone down. I wanted to read for you a few statistics, which are not very good, but a few statistics of what we have right now in the world so that you can be able to understand why we actually need to be working towards zero hunger as an individual, as a group, as a community. As a community. I asked you before we started the show, kindly let me know, why do you think we have hunger cases in the world today? We are in the 21st century, but we still have hunger cases in the world. What do you think are the causes for having hunger in the world today? And I also asked, do you think it is possible for us to attain zero hunger by 2030? According to the SDG, we are supposed to be achieving these by 2030. Do you think it is possible for us to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? And the third question was, what do you think we can actually do? What can we do to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? Those are three questions. The causes of hunger crisis. Do you think it's possible to attain zero hunger in the world? What do you think we should be doing in order to attain zero hunger in the world? Send me your feedback. On Facebook, we are Farmers. On YouTube, we are at Farmers Media. Farmers Media. Okay? Yes, I will be sampling your comments in the second part of the show, and you can also let me know where are you watching the show from. Let me know where you're watching the show from and what you think about the topic today. Okay? So we have very interesting statistics, and these statistics actually they worry me a lot. Personally, they worry me a lot. So in 2017, it was recorded that 821 million people were undernourished. 821 million people out of 7 billion people were recorded to be undernourished. Undernourished means they are not getting enough nutrients. So they are most likely to develop things like kwashiorkor and scurvy and beriberi and what else? We did marasmus. Yes. So 821 million people were recorded to be undernourished in 2017. Another worrying thing that actually worries me with the statistics that we have, over 90 million people, over 90 million children below 5 years are actually underweight. They are underweight. They don't have the weight that they should be having at the age of 5 years. Over 90 million. Over 90 million. This is the future generation that we have. This is the future generation that we have. But we have over 90 million children who are below the age of 5 years actually being underweight, meaning they are not getting enough food. They can't actually attain the weight they should be having. Do you think these children as they grow up will they be productive as they should be? No, they won't. So our productivity is actually being hampered around here. And I told you, I said in the ghetto, I know people sleep hungry. I know people sleep hungry. We slept hungry a few times as I was growing up. And do you know the statistics that we have about people sleeping hungry in the world? 690 million people sleep hungry each night in the world. That is 8.9% of the world population. Do you know how worrying that is? We have 8.9% of the world population actually sleeping hungry in the world each night. It is disturbing. It is disturbing because in these 690 million people, we have children, we have the vulnerable in the society, we have very old people, we have the women, we have children. All these people can't be productive if they are actually not even getting food. Another worrying statistic that I saw, um, we talked about crop diversity yesterday, and I mentioned that we actually have some crops that are lost right now. We don't have them anymore. 79% of our crop diversity has been lost, and yet we need to attain zero hunger. That is also disturbing. But I have one hope. I said it is on a Wednesday. It is on a Wednesday. I like appreciating women in the industry. If you know any woman we can appreciate who is in this agriculture industry and is making efforts, or any other woman who is making efforts to make this world a better place, let us know on our Facebook page. The hope that I have here is if women were to be given resources such as land, make it easier for them to obtain land, and give them all these other resources that they need to do agriculture, most of the people we have in agriculture are women, especially in our rural areas. The women actually do the agriculture. If we had the women getting the resources, we can actually be feeding around 150 million people. That is a good number. 150 million people would be out of hunger. 150 million people wouldn't be having hunger crises if we gave our women the resources. So those are the statistics, and they are very worrying, and they actually get us back to a call. We really need to get to attaining zero hunger in the world by the time we are getting to 2030, or else the statistics will be getting worse because the population is actually increasing out here. Give me your feedback on Facebook, Farmers. On YouTube, we are at Farmers Media. You can tell me, what do you think are the causes for us having hunger crisis in the world? Do you think it is possible for us to attain zero hunger in the world by the time we are getting to 2030? And what do you think we can actually do to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? Keep sending me your feedback right here on Our Farmers on Facebook. On YouTube, we are at Our Farmers Media, and I'll be sampling that for you in the second bit of the show. And in the second bit of the show, I'll also be giving you the weather updates. Yes. And I will also like to remind you the quote of the day. I would like to remind you the quote of the day. Have it in mind as you get yourself to doing whatever you're doing. Make today matter. Make today matter. We will be taking a short break. We will be back in a few. Make sure you stay tuned in, and we'll be back.
Cauliflower is a cruciferous vegetable that is naturally high in fiber and B vitamins. Cauliflowers are annual plants that reach about 0.5 meters and bear large rounded leaves. As desired for food, the terminal cluster forms a firm succulent cud or head that is in form of a cluster of flowers. Cauliflowers do well in fertile well-drained soils that are rich in organic matter. Just like other plants, cauliflowers are also affected by different kinds of pests and diseases which can hinder its growth, including unfavorable climate and growing conditions.
The many problems you will see in cauliflowers, and this one is just one of them. You can see how the problem is. It's called riciness. You can see it living in a chana, that is, yeah? Living each other. As you always say. But this one is usually caused by low temperatures. Yes. Low temperatures. Low temperatures during planting leads to this problem. So you have to make sure during planting you have favorable temperatures for your crops. Always talk to your agronomist when you plant, so you can know when to plant what and what works when. Temperature will depend on your area, the area you are in. Because I can't tell you we are in Nyandarua, I want to grow this, and you are in somewhere in in coast, it's too hot. Yes, so that will depend also in your locality. Yes, and also if you are in those climates where it always changes, so you have to know when is the cold season. In cold season you can't do this because of A, B and C, and if it's too hot you can't do A, B and C. So always, that's why I'll just have an agronomist will guide you through it. Yes, and also do your market research and know what works where before you grow something as a farmer. Don't just do guesswork. There's a lot of pests that attack cauliflower. One, the most notorious one is aphids. Aphids will circle your leaves, and one thing you'll know, there's aphids on your leaves. They're always curling. Yes, they will eat, or they will suck the sap out of the leaf, and now when they are too weak they start curling. They curl inwards. So that's how you'll know you have aphid attack on your farm. Yes, and now what you can do to control aphids on your farm is always keep them in check by spraying. There's always a chemical solutions to it. There's biological, and then there's IPM. Yes. The perfect head, I'll say it looks like this one. Look at this. It's perfectly round, and it doesn't have any spots on it, and it's intact. That's what makes a perfect head, and is a good size, good market size. Not too small, not too big, not overgrown, just perfect. Yes.
Welcome back again to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Len Thomas. We've been having a discussion on zero hunger and how we can attain zero hunger in the world by the time we are getting to 2030. Sawa sawa? I told you. On this second part of it, we will be looking at the causes that are actually causing the hunger crisis that we have in our world today, and we'll try and look at what can we do to actually solve this crisis by the time we are getting to 2030. Before we went on a break, I read for you the quote of the day, and I told you to have it in mind even as we get to the end of the show. And you can actually think, what can you do, especially in your life, to make this world a better place? Our quote of the day was, make today matter. Make today matter. Make today matter. In everything that you're doing, make it matter. Make the day count. That's actually what I mean. Make the day count. Um, I am glad that I have people who are actually talking back to me, giving me your feedback. You can always send me your comments and your feedback and your questions on our pages. On Facebook, we are Affirmers. On YouTube, we are Affirmers Media. I have Mother Mohammed right here who is saying, I think he is replying to what I asked on what we can do to actually solve the hunger crisis that we have. Motha Mohammed says, I hope I got your name correctly, Motha Mohammed. He says, to attain food security, we need more farmers. We need to recruit more farmers. We need to involve children at school level. We need to encourage more women into farming. He says to attain food security, we need more farmers. We need to recruit more farmers. We need to involve children at the school level. We need to encourage more women into farming. Okay, we will be getting right back into that. That comment just right there. Keep giving me your feedback. On Facebook, we are Affirmers. On YouTube, we are at Affirmers Media. I told you, we will be doing for you the weather updates, especially for people in 254. Today is April the 14th. I'm going to start with this region, the Lake Victoria Basin, the highlands, west of the Rift Valley, and the central and south Rift Valley, which covers Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Migori, Kisii, Nyamira, Trans Nzoia, Baringo, Uasin Gishu, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi, Nakuru, Narok, Kericho, Bomet, Kakamega, Vihiga, Bungoma, and Busia counties. So entirely the Rift Valley area and Nyanza area. In the morning, there's expected to be having rain over a few places. In the afternoon, you might be having showers and thunderstorms over several places. At night, you might be having showers over a few places. The highest temperature will be 29 degrees centigrade. The lowest temperature will be 12 degrees centigrade. In the northwest region, which covers Turkana, West Pokot, and Samburu counties. Yes, what were Maralal? In the morning, there is expected to be having chance of rain over a few places. Actually, rain over a few places. In the afternoon, showers and thunderstorms are expected over a few places. At night, you expect a chance of showers over a few places. And the highest temperatures to be recorded today are 38 degrees centigrade, 21 degrees centigrade. The highland east of the Rift Valley region, which includes Nyandarua, Laikipia, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Murang'a, Kiambu, Meru, Embu, Tharaka Nithi, and Nairobi County. In the morning, you are expected to be having a chance of rain over a few places. It actually was raining from wherever I was coming from. In the afternoon, showers over several places, and at night, showers over several places. Highest temperature recorded 27 degrees, lowest 11 degrees centigrade. The northeast, this is northeastern region, which covers Marsabit, Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, and Isiolo counties. In the morning, you are expected to be having a chance of rain over a few places, sunny intervals during the afternoon, and partly cloudy during the night. The highest temperatures to be recorded during the day are 38 degrees centigrade, the lowest 18 degrees centigrade. I have this other region, the southeastern lowlands, which covers Kitui, Makueni, Machakos, Kajiado, and Taita Taveta counties. You are expected to be having a chance of rains over a few places in the morning, showers over a few places in the afternoon, and showers over a few places in the nighttime. Maximum temperatures to be recorded are 33 degrees centigrade during the day, and 16 degrees centigrade is the minimum temperature. The last region that I have here is the coastal strip, which is Mombasa, Tana River, Kilifi, Lamu, and Kwale counties. In the morning, you're expected to be having a chance of showers over a few places. In the afternoon, showers over a few places, and at night, a chance of showers over a few places. Highest temperatures recorded 34 degrees centigrade, lowest temperatures recorded 26 degrees centigrade. That is the weather updates for you for today. We will be doing the same also for you tomorrow. So make sure if you don't know anything about what you're expecting in your weather, you are staying tuned in. And I will remind you about an app called Plantix, especially for farmers who are working in the field and you are unable to identify your pests and diseases that are on your crops. We have the Plantix app. The Plantix app, you download it from Google Play Store, install it in your device. If you have a crop that is infected or infested by pests, you just take a picture. You log in into the app, take a picture of the crop. The app will actually diagnose for you. It scans the photo and it diagnoses for you the pest and the disease that you have on your crop, and it actually tells you about the management practice of what you can do to actually get rid of the pest and the disease that you have. That is the Plantix app. If you don't have it, make sure you are downloading it, especially if you are a farmer. It will come in handy. It will come in handy. Our quote today was make today matter. Make today matter. Have it in mind. Have it in mind as you are going about your errands. And I have read a comment from Motha Mohammed, which said, from a question I asked, to attain food security, we need more farmers. We need to recruit more farmers. We need to involve children at school level. We need to encourage more women into farming. Thank you so much, Motha Mohammed, for watching the show. If I have anyone else watching the show and you would like to send me your feedback, tell me where you're watching the show from. Right here on Facebook, we are a farmers. On YouTube, we are a farmers media. And today we are talking about attaining zero hunger in our world today. By the time we are getting to 2030, this is according to the SDG goals that we have put in place that are supposed to be aiding us in the development of the world till 2030. We want to make this world a better place. And one of those SDG goals, the second goal actually, it is the second goal, it is zero hunger. Zero hunger. We aim at attaining zero hunger in the world. I have read very worrying statistics, and the one that I actually relate with is the one of having 690 million people sleeping hungry each night in the world. 690 million people go to bed hungry at night, each night in the world. That is approximately 8.9% of the world population that we have right now. It is a very big number because in this number we have the vulnerable in the society, we have the children, we have the women, we have the people who are in their old age who are sleeping hungry. 690 million is a very, very big number. What then can we do to actually solve this crisis? What can we do to improve on this crisis that we have right here? And actually, what can we change? We can only change when we know where the problem is. What do you think is the cause for us having hunger crisis in the world? What do you think is the cause for us having hunger crisis in the world? Send me your feedback. Send me your feedback of what you think. Why do you think we have a hunger crisis in the world? What do you think we can do to actually solve this issue? I like the fact that it was actually made a goal. It is a very good thing that it was made a goal on itself, because I don't think it's okay if I have a child below 5 years sleeping hungry. Personally, if I was to ask you, have you ever slept hungry? Do you know what it is like to sleep hungry? Now imagine we have 690 million people in the world sleeping hungry each single night. It is worrying. It is worrying. It is something that we should actually be solving. And why is it even happening right now in the 21st century. It will be okay if it will be in the 19th century, but for crying out loud, we are in the 21st century and we still have such things happening in our world today. I've told you a story of a woman who was to choose, who was to live, if it was her or the baby, because they had no food and they had no water. And she chose to let the baby die and her to continue living. Why are we keeping people in such situations? Why do we have to let people get to a point where they have to choose if they have to live or the child has to live? Because we have hunger crisis in the world. Why? What can we do? What can we do to actually make that better? What can we do? Or what do you think we've done wrong? What do you think we've been doing wrong that has actually put us in this place? I've told you the numbers from 2015 till now are actually going high. Of the number of people we have going hungry, the number of people we have starving, the number of people we have being undernourished, the numbers are going high. What exactly are we doing wrong? What exactly are we doing wrong? Do you think it is possible for us to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? Do you? Do you think there's something we can do that can actually help us get to that level? Let us know. Let us know. Keep sending me your feedback. So, my causes of hunger, this is what I figured out is causing the hunger crisis that we have around. My first cause would be food shortage. The food being produced is not enough. The food being produced is not enough. We have a growing population. We have a growing population each day. Right now, we are at 7 billion people. By 2050, we will be at 9 billion people. But at the same time, the population is increasing. The land resources that we have are still the same. We have an increasing population, but the resources that we need for agriculture are still the same. Don't also forget that the more we have people increasing, actually, the more we are getting our lands being urbanized. So more towns are coming up, more cities are coming up, and we are actually having less land to produce food. The land that is left to produce food because of industrialization to cater for the increasing population is actually decreasing. So the land is kidogo. The land is kidogo sana. And if the land is kidogo sana, we can't produce as much food as we should to cater for the whole population that we have. So my first reason would be food shortage. We have food shortage. The food being produced is not enough for the population that we have currently in the world. The second reason, I think, which I have explained from the first reason, we actually have limited access to the natural resources that we need to be producing food. So I've talked about land. We have less land to be using to do agriculture, right? The soils that we have right now, the soils are degraded. The soils don't have as much nutrients as they should to enhance maximum productivity. We have a rising percentage of the emission of the greenhouse gases. We have poor water management. We have several cases of runoff in the world today. And you see, the resources that we have are not are not used as they should. They are minimal. First, start with them being minimal. We have limited access to land, and when we have the land, the conditions are not very conducive. The conditions we have in our land, looking from the soil, the water, everything is not working out for the agriculture industry. The third reason is climate change. If you have been very careful, and if you have lived long enough, I haven't lived long enough, so I wouldn't really give you an example of the 1990s. I have no idea what was happening during that time. But if you have lived long enough, you can actually tell that the climate that we had, the weather conditions we had let's say in 2000, 2000, 2001 to around 2005 isn't the same thing that we have right now. From 2018 to where we are right now at 2021, the conditions aren't the same. Right now, we have extreme weather conditions. When it rains, it actually pours. It pours. Like, seriously, it pours to an extent where we have flooding cases. You know, uh, I keep remembering a case of Turkana flooding. Turkana in Kenya is actually known to be a very dry place. We've always recorded cases of hunger and drought in Turkana. And then it rains and the place is flooded. These people actually need relief because the place is flooded. We have extreme weather conditions right now. If it rains, it pours, the place floods. If it doesn't rain, it is to the extreme. The place is experiencing drought. Nothing is growing out of the place. So our climate has really shifted. The weather patterns are very unpredictable. Right now we have rains in January. We never have rains in January in Africa. We always expect rains from March, the long rains from March to May. Right now you find in January it is raining, seriously raining. Why? The climate has changed. The climate has changed because of the activities we keep doing. We keep doing. We are emitting more greenhouse gases into our environment that are actually tampering with the climate we have. In this climate, the changing climate, you see, we have cases of drought, cases of floods. It is very hard to achieve maximum productivity in such a climate because a farmer can plant and everything gets washed away. Just in case of anything, everything gets washed away. And you can also plant and then drought strikes. We are not getting anything out of that land. So it is more like zero work. We are not getting anything out of that land. And then the weather is very unpredictable. We might be planning to plant. We plant and then the rains fail to appear. Or if they come, they don't come the usual amount they usually come, like the long rains from March to May. They might come March and by mid April they are done, they are gone. What are we supposed to be doing with the rest of the time that is left? So you find productivity, the agricultural productivity is actually is actually hindered with these climatic conditions. But we did something on climate smart agriculture on Friday on the Breakfast Show. Make sure you watch it and know how you can maneuver around with this changing climate. If we need to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030. The other reason that I have as a cause of hunger crisis would be war and conflicts. War and conflicts are actually, you see the story I told you about a woman who wouldn't get out of the town and they didn't have food, they were relying on relief. It's because of war and conflicts. You have war to an extent whereby you can't actually do any economic activity. So agriculture as an economic activity can't be practiced because of war. If we are not practicing agriculture because of war, we will be producing less food. And also because of war, you find like we can't get into this city, you can't get out of this city, food can't get in. You guys are going to starve. You guys are going to have a hunger crisis within the area you are in. The other reason I have for my cause of hunger is damaged infrastructure. So I would like to address this more specifically people in Africa. I don't know, the governments that we have in place. How have they worked, especially in the infrastructure sector? Is your infrastructure in your country so good? Are the roads accessible for the mama mboga back in the rural areas? Can they actually be able to access the markets using the roads? Are the roads passable? Or you find you have a case whereby if it rains, this mama mboga can't access the market because the roads are impassable. Infrastructure plays a very big role, especially in the agriculture sector because of transportation. Most of the food needs to get to the market when it is fresh. When it is fresh. So it is very, very, very important that we have very good infrastructure helping with this. The marketing becomes so easy. People can always transfer their goods to the market, and it becomes so easy. People can access food. The other reason I had is the economic downfall we've been having, especially right now with the COVID era. The economics are very bad out here. They are very bad out here. Prices are going high each single day. In Kenya, yesterday I saw the unga prices were supposed to be going high. The petrol prices are supposed to be going high. Cooking oil prices are supposed to be going high. So the prices are so high in everything that we are consuming. Production actually also becomes so high. If I am to get farm inputs to use to produce, they are so high because of the transport costs and everything. The economic downfall we have right now is actually affecting us a lot. Everything is so pricey that conducting agricultural activities becomes very hectic and it becomes very, very hard. Let me not forget the last reason for us having hunger, which I mentioned when we were starting. Right now, we have lost like 79% of some of the plant species that we should be having. We have biodiversity loss in our environment. So, whatever we are remaining with is more like 21%. Yes, which is little as compared to if we would be having the whole lot 100%, which will be used to cover the entire population. So the biodiversity loss means less food. We have less food being produced. Yes, less food being produced. We want to go on a short break. But as we come back, we will be looking at the steps that we can actually do to attain zero hunger. We'll try to find the solutions that will help us to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030. Our quote of the day today is make today matter. Make today matter. In everything that you are doing, every action that you are making, we say be intentional of everything in everything that you're doing. Our quote today is make today matter. Have it in mind even on the perspective of us attaining zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030. Make today matter. And I ask a question even as we started the show. Do you think it is possible for us to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? Do you think it is possible for us to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? What do you think we can do to actually achieve zero hunger, attain zero hunger at 2030? It's more of the solutions. Share with me your solutions. On Facebook, we are Affirmers. On YouTube, we are at Affirmers Media. I'll be reading your comments when we come back from the break, but make sure you are giving us your feedback. Stay tuned. We are going on a short break. We'll be back in a few and we will continue with this discussion.
Mic check. Unanisikia? Is my sound okay?
Stand by in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You are on air.
Join me, Conrad Kibe, on the Farm Drive every weekday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. right here on A Farmers Media, where we tell you the story of an African farmer. We give you COVID-19 updates, and most interestingly, we give you the pan of the day. Follow us on all our social media platforms at A Farmers with a Z at the end on Facebook, and definitely A Farmers Media on YouTube. See you there. Allah. 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 Allah.
A very good morning to you. Welcome back to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Lillian Thomas. We've been talking about zero hunger today, attaining zero hunger in the world. And we are looking at it in like 9 to 10 years' time. So by 2030, attaining zero hunger in the world. And this is from the SDG goal that we have about zero hunger. And that is what we are aiming at. And I will remind you the quote of the day today has been make today matter. Make today matter. Make today matter. Think about it in the perspective of zero hunger. We aim at attaining zero hunger in order to make this world a better place for everyone who is living in this world. For our generation, for the future generations to come, we need to make this world a better place. I want you to think about the quote of the day in that light. Think of it from that perspective. Make today matter. In every single activity that you're doing, you should be making this world a better place. Make this world a better place for everyone who is coming, everyone who is here, and in all activities that we do. And even as we talk about zero hunger, what can you do today? What can you today that will actually make an impact that will help us to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? Keep sending me your information, your feedback. Tell me where you're watching the show from. On Facebook, we are Farmers. On YouTube, we are at Farmers Media. And as I get back to the topic of discussion today, I have a comment from Collins Kulei. Thank you so much, Collins, for watching this show. Collins Kulei says, in response to the questions that we had asked, do you think it is possible to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? What do you think are the causes for us having hunger crisis in the world today? And the last question was, what do you think we can do to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030? So Collins Kulei says, to attain zero hunger, we need to significantly increase the rate at which we are producing food. This means adopting every useful technology for efficiency. Remember, we will not only need to produce more to curb the hunger, but also to adapt to the increasing population. And yes, involve as many brains and manpower as we can. Thank you, Collins, for your feedback. So, we had Mother Mohammed bringing an aspect of actually having more farmers, teaching farming from a very young age. We teach this to our children in school. As they grow up, they get into farming. And he brought about a picture of actually encouraging more women into farming. That is a whole other discussion of how women can be encouraged into farming. But I am glad you brought that point out. And Collins Kulei brings about the point of actually adapting to the technologies we have in place, using the technologies we have in place to increase our productivity. And he also encourages that we actually try to use as many brains and as much manpower as we can in order to attain zero hunger. He says we should increase our agricultural productivity rates if we are to attain zero hunger in the world. Thank you. Thank you so much for your feedback. All these things actually they add up because when we look at the reasons why we are having the crisis, the people who are in farming aren't producing more food. The climate has shifted. We are not making good use of the technology that we have around. And I told you, it doesn't even make sense that we are in the 21st century, a century where we are at the maximum of the technology advancements we have in the world today, and yet we have people who are sleeping hungry. And I told you the numbers. I will keep reminding you the numbers so that you can choose to do something that will actually help this world to make it a better place, especially in terms of food production. Each single night, 690 million people sleep hungry. 690 million people sleep hungry each single night. That is 8.9% of the world population that we have around. And if we are not careful, the numbers are going high. The numbers are going higher day by day. We've seen like the curve from 2015 to now. The hunger cases are going high. We are recording more numbers. The population is increasing. We have less food. We have limited resources. Everything agriculture wise is hindered. Productivity is low. The economic times are quite hard. People can't actually even afford to put a meal on their table. I told you, I know people in the ghetto who actually live under $1 per day. $1 in Kenya shillings, that is 100 bob. We have families that live under less than 100 bob in a day. And it is worrying. And you find it is a family, like a large family. You guys are like five, and you are living under 100 bob. If you are to have meals in that house, you'll have breakfast and then you'll wait to have dinner at night. And most probably, you might be having tea for dinner again because you can't afford to put a meal on your table. And yet, we are in the 21st century when we have everything. We have the technology that we can be using to increase our productivity. But we still have hunger crises in the world today. And I find it very thoughtful that they actually made zero hunger a goal on itself in the sustainable development goals that we have, that we are actually working towards by 2030. And it is the second goal. It is the second goal. And we are trying to get to a point whereby in 2030, we don't have cases of hunger in the world. We have food security in the entire world. There is maximum productivity by the time we are getting to 2030. And by this, we are shifting into sustainable agriculture, something that will actually last us till that period. Till that period. Yes, we are going to be looking at what we can do in order to attain zero hunger by the time we are getting to 2030. But you can keep sending me your feedback. On Facebook, we are a farmers. On YouTube, we are at a farmers media. We will be reading your feedback towards the end of the show. This is the last bit. We will be reading towards the end of the show. Let us know where you're watching the show from. And I will remind you again, our quote of the day says, make today matter. Make today matter. Have it in mind. Have it in mind. Have it in mind even as we work towards making this world a better place by 2030, according to the SDG goals that we have, and zero hunger is one of them. And if you are in the agriculture sector, that is what we are working towards. So have it in mind. Have it in mind. You can share with us what you think. Facebook, we are a farmers. On YouTube, we are at a farmers media. In order to solve the hunger crisis that we have, we need to shift a little. We need to change a few things that we have going around. We already mentioned as a problem, as a cause of hunger, that our productivity is very low. Our productivity is very low. We need to increase the agricultural productivity in our countries and in the world in general. So, like, let's have more land. I'll give an example of Kenya. In Kenya, when you take a bus and you are headed from Nairobi to Kisumu, you always see a lot. Like, it is a very big land that has not been put into use. Very big land that if it could actually be used, its potential could be maximized. It would really help us, especially in attaining food security in the country. We need to increase the productivity. We have around yesterday, Conrad Kibe on the Farm Drive talked about urban farming as a way to sustain yourselves in the city. And you find that you can actually do your farming in the kitchen yard, in your balconies, everywhere. You can actually do that. If we do that, each and every person does that as a personal initiative, in a collective way, we are able to increase the productivity that we have in the world. And we have new technologies coming around in order to increase the productivity. People are using other methods of producing food. We have the hydroponic system where if you don't actually even need the land, you don't need the land, you don't need the land at all. You get the system installed at your place and you are going to grow your food, especially for the horticultural crops. We increase our productivity. Tomorrow we will be looking at vertical farming. It is a new technology in the world, not very common in Kenya, but you will see what it looks like. You'll be seeing what it looks like. And these new technologies can actually help us get to maximum productivity in the world and increase the food that we are producing in order in order to solve the hunger crisis that we have around. I talked about something concerning the transportation and the infrastructure we have in our countries. I don't know about your country, wherever you are watching me from. How good is the infrastructure that you have in your country? How accessible are the roads? How accessible is the market for the farmer? Do the roads become impassable whenever it rains? Or are they still passable? All these matters because if you are in the agriculture industry, you are producing food. The food produced needs to get to the market while it is still fresh. For you to get food while it is still fresh, you need to be having good transport system. The roads need to be very passable. These farmers need storage facilities to store their food to get to the market while it is fresh. It is something that every government should be working on improving in order to make the farmers' lives better. Especially right now that in Kenya we have agriculture as a devolved thing, you can actually work it within your county government. Make your roads passable from the local mama inside that village. Make it very passable for her such that when she produces, she can actually access the markets, which is very, very important for her to do. Okay? Yes. That is what we want to encourage. Make it easier for the farmer. Let's not make it a problem. She has to undergo through a whole problem of producing food, and then she has to undergo another whole problem of trying to access the market. It doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. A lot of food is being lost along the way, especially from harvesting and before it gets to the market. We have the post harvest losses because they don't have good storage conditions. And then we have the transport issue. Foods are getting lost along the way. Actually, the statistics record a third percent of the food produced actually gets lost before it gets to the market. It is never consumed. So, because of storage, transportation, and everything, a third percent of the food produced, that is 33%. 33% is a lot. 33% of food is lost, yet we have 8.9% of the people sleeping hungry each night. Do the maths, do the maths. The statistics we have are very worrying. If we can adjust some little things, get rid of the little minor mistakes that we are making us not to achieve whatever we need to achieve, it would really, really help. In Africa, most farmers that we have are small scale farmers, right? For the small scale farmer, sometimes it could be a challenge for them to be able to afford or access farm inputs that they need to be using. It could be hard for them to access information that could actually make them improve their agricultural practices. They could also be having a very hard time trying to access the markets. But as a government, as organizations, this is the place where you should step in. Invest in these people, promote these small scale farmers. If you can try and get information to them, if you can try and help them access the inputs that they need, try and make them access the markets that they need. A larger percentage of the farmers we have are small scale farmers. They are actually the ones contributing to the food productivity that we have. What if we actually made them have better services? What if we actually improved their production by promoting them? If we did, we would actually increase the productivity rates that we have in the world today. So more focus should be put into the small scale farmers, because I know most, even when you're looking at the policies we have in the agricultural sectors in different countries, they tend to favor the large scale farmer. But how many large scale farmers do we have in Africa? In the entire Africa, how many large scale farmers do we have as compared to the small scale farmers? The small scale farmers are the majority. They carry the day. More investment should be put into them, as they do a major part of the production thing. Let us invest in them. Let's make these things accessible to them, from the inputs, the markets, the information, extension services. Let us get to them in a very easy way, in a very affordable way. If you are a government, you can actually subsidize for them the fertilizers, subsidize for them the farm inputs, help them locate markets. You are making their work easier. They will be able to produce more, and you will have increased food. More people will be getting food. And you see, this is a progressive thing. It is not a thing we do today and it is sorted. No, it's not. It is a progressive thing. We do it every bit, every bit, every bit. By the time we are getting to 2030, the hunger cases we have in the world have really reduced. Have really reduced. The other solution I'd like to think could work is having a proper functioning of the markets we have. Having a proper functioning of the markets we have, such that when the farmers come to sell their produce, there is a certain, especially it goes with the policy, there is a price at which they should be selling their goods. If it is a kg of onions should go at 40, it should be a standard price. Like in the markets, a kg of onions go at 40s. We don't want these varying prices whereby we have 40, we have 20 in the markets. And then you will find a farmer. A farmer has produced whatever they have produced, and the price that you have in the market, you have it at 20 when it should be at 40, and they will actually figure out they will be making losses. Farmers are very interesting people. Some of them would actually not bring their produce to the market. They'd rather stay with the produce instead of making losses. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we had a case of a cabbage farmer talking about the marketing challenges they are having. And she mentioned something about a broker trying to get her cabbages at 6 bob per head of cabbage to go and sell. And this farmer knows a cabbage in the market goes at around 40 bob. Oh, and the production price of the cabbage is around 10 to 12 shillings per head of cabbage. And this broker wants to buy it from you at 6 shillings. And you see, as a farmer, you are left with no option because the brokers control the market. Especially now, we look at a situation like Kenya. Kenya, we have Marikiti Market. The brokers control the market. If I come with my produce and I am not a broker, people won't buy from me. You will actually be told to sell it to the broker, and then the broker can sell it to them. The brokers control the market, making it very inaccessible for the farmers. Is there a way that the government can actually work around and get rid of the brokers we have in the market? If we can get rid of the brokers we have along the supply chain, the farmer can be assured they will get their produce to the market and at a very good price. They will actually be motivated to do whatever they are doing. But if we know the market prices are bad, we can't get access to the markets, and if we sell to the broker, we are making losses. I'd rather use my produce as manure back in my farm. You get? Yeah, you know what I mean? It exactly becomes very, very difficult for them to maneuver around. If we can work around the markets that we have in our countries, get rid of the brokers, adjust the prices, make it very conducive for the farmer to actually get the produce there, and it also becomes very easy for the consumer to actually get the produce that they need to be getting. There is a thing we discussed on Monday that I think is a very viable solution for the crisis, the hunger crisis that we have in the world. And this has to be sustainable food production. Sustainable food production. Over the years, the climate has been changing. The weathers are very unpredictable. The productivity is going low. We have to teach our farmers on a sustainable way of doing agriculture. Yes. Yesterday we looked at Yesterday we were looking at conservational agriculture as a way of sustainable agriculture. In the long term, it is a long term solution. By the time you are getting to 2030, it is a very steady practice that ensures you have continued production even with the changing weather conditions. Sawa, even with the changing climate conditions, you are assured of productivity. If you can teach farmers on doing things in a sustainable way, having in mind the weather, the environment that we are living in, the climate conditions that we have that are continuously changing, it won't happen in a single day. I know it will take some several years, but in the several years that it is taking, it is a long term solution. We can actually ensure that we have maximum productivity by the time we are getting to 2030 as a world. If I make a personal initiative, you make a personal initiative as a person in the agriculture industry. Also remember, let's even train our children that we have in schools, from schools. Let them start learning these things from a very early age. Let us have incentives getting more youths into farming, more women into farming. Sawa, let us have things in place that can actually encourage women and youth to get into farming. Let's increase the number of people we have in farming. And the technologies we have in place, we should be using them. Let's use them to our advantage. If it increases our productivity, let us use them. You know, we have very simple technologies as easy as using hybrid seeds, which people ignore, which are very good certified seeds that give us maximum productivity in a very short time. But people keep continuously using what they are used to. Let us use the technologies that we have in place to achieve the maximum productivity that we have. I will read one last comment as we wrap up the show. And I am very glad that you have been watching the show. I have Damascus Teka. Okay, I hope I got the name right. Damascus Teka says, to achieve zero hunger, we need to stop open grazing in Africa. Nigeria in particular. I assume you are from Nigeria. Thank you for watching the show. To achieve zero hunger, we need to stop open grazing in Africa. The governments have to stop encouraging herders to destroy people's farms, else it remains an imagination. We mentioned these on Monday while we were doing sustainable agriculture. And the guest we had on call, Mr. Ila, mentioned a thing. And he said the way we are degrading the resources we have by, especially by having like these large herds grazing in our fields. And he proposed, why don't we just have a few number of cattle, like 4 cattle? Let's do zero grazing with them. Let's zero graze them, and they will be very economically productive. Like you will make very good money from them. The food you are giving to them is managed very well as compared to having a large herd of cattle that are not very profitable to you. Do your maths, do your maths, do your maths. If possible, can we just shift into zero grazing? Just have a few, 5, that will give you maximum production, that you can actually feed, that you can actually manage. And I believe this is a farmer who is saying this out of distress, because you have herders who don't actually watch their herd well, and these cattle, these livestock actually get into people's farms. And when they get into people's farms, they destroy everything we have in the farms. Is it fair to the farmer? No, it is not. And if we destroy the crops we have in the farm, we will be having less food at the end of the day, which actually leads to more hunger in the world as we have today. As we are wrapping the show, I will remind you the quote of the day that we had today. Today, our quote was make today matter. Make today matter. In everything you are doing, everything you are planning to do, can you actually make everything you do count? Yes, please make everything you do count. If you are in the agriculture industry, can you make your actions count in terms of the productivity you're doing? Right now, we are talking about zero hunger. Can you make it count towards that end? Contribute towards achieving zero hunger at the end of the day. We have been having COVID 19 for an entire year with us, and the numbers keep going high over and over again, and we need to tame them. We need to tame the number of cases we have in our country. I always remind us, if you are going to public places, put on your mask. Put on your mask, let it cover your mouth and your nose. Wash your hands regularly, and or sanitize if you can. And if you are in public places, maintain social distance. A distance of 1.5 meters, yes. And if you have no other business outside, just stay at home. It will help. Your personal initiative, my personal initiative, it becomes a joint effort to flatten the curve. We need to get people back. Look at the crisis we have around. People are being laid off from work because the economics are getting hard because of these lockdown, cessation of movements. We need people to, let's make this place a better place for everyone. We need people to get back to working. So make sure you are actually maintaining the precautionary measures that have been put in place by the government. So the COVID updates in Kenya, as at yesterday, we recorded 991 positive cases from a sample size of 6,417 cases. I believe my producer is actually putting them up on the screen. The positivity rate is at 15.4%. The recoveries we had were 370. The number of death cases are 26. The numbers are very, very high. 26 death cases in a day is so high. Something needs to be done about it. 991 positive cases are so high. The percentage is so high. Can we just make an effort? Try and flatten the curve. Put on your mask, sanitize, keep social distance, stay at home. Okay? Yes. I'm wrapping up the show at this point, and I am so glad that you actually joined me for the show. And I am glad that you've been giving me feedback about attaining zero hunger in the world. We will be having another discussion right here tomorrow, our same time, same place, okay? At 8:30. Catch me again here tomorrow morning on the breakfast show. Tomorrow morning we'll be discussing something about vertical farming. If you have anything that you would like to share with us about vertical farming, hit us on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are a farmers. On YouTube, we are at a farmers media. Our shows run during the day, through the entire day. We have the mid-morning show coming in at 11:30, and then we have the farm drive show coming in at 3 p.m. Make sure you stay tuned in to watch our shows. And if there's a show you would like to watch and you hadn't watched it, make sure you check it on our Facebook page, on our farmers, on YouTube, our farmers media. Until tomorrow, until tomorrow, I want you to remember whatever we've said today. We need to make this world a better place. We need to make this world a better place. If you don't do everything else that I have mentioned here, can you remember to make today matter? Make today matter. By your words, by your actions, everything, every bit of you. Make today matter. Stay tuned in for more of our shows. And until tomorrow, it is adios from me. Let's meet here again tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. for another interesting discussion.